Napoleon Hill once said, you should remember that it is not the lawyer who knows most of the laws, but the one who best prepares his case is the one who wins the case. You want to ponder over that again. It's on that note that I welcome you to another edition of Accelerate Lagos here on Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. This program is brought to you by the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, and it airs every Wednesday at 10:15, 10:20. Okay, so in recent time we have been tracking issues around the economy, the dwindling economy. It's a global issue, not relatively restricted to Nigeria alone. But today on the show, we shall be focusing on the legal aspect of your business. It's not enough to venture into a business. You also need to understand the laws guiding what you are into. So your business and the law is our focus on the show this morning. I have Oluyemi Orija in the studio. She is a managing partner at Hertford Chambers. Good morning, Oluyemi.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
It's good to have you on the program.
My pleasure.
All right, so you're from Hertford Chambers and a managing partner. Explain to me what you do as a managing partner.
Okay, so as a managing partner, I oversee our case management in the firm. I oversee and supervise our lawyers to execute the job of our clients who are business owners, families, individuals that need legal services of all sorts. It could be employment law, it could be business-related situations like commercials and contract. It could be family situations, divorce, and all of that. So yes, that's what we do at Hertford Chambers.
All right then. So what are some of the core services that entrepreneurs can leverage on, in terms of legal guidance? We are all about MSMEs, talking about business owners in Lagos. So we leave out all those divorce, we leave out all those things. It is not our concern.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so as business owners, right, it's important for us to not just focus alone on the operations of the business, but of course the compliance and regulatory policies around our business and industry. So depending on the industry that entrepreneurs, operate in, it's important for you to be to pay attention to what the government is saying in that regard. So there are laws that business runnings and operations in Nigeria. The first you want to concern yourself with is the Corporate Affairs, Corporate and Allied Matters Act 2020. That's the law that guides business, and it's the function of the Corporate Affairs Commission to oversee and execute that law. So as business owners, right, you want to concern yourself with, am I even proper before the law? You want to know, how do I register my business? What kind of structure am I laying down for my business? Do I want to register a liability company, or I just want to register just for an identity sake, maybe a business name? So aside that, you want to talk about taxes. You want to talk about employment. The moment you start to employ one person, two persons, then you need to know, what are my duties, what are my rights, right? So all of this might be enormous for an average business owner, especially for MSMEs, right?
Yes.
You want to do yourself a lot of favor by having a lawyer friend in your corner. So you can, the job of the lawyers is to take the burden off you. And people say that is expensive, which I quite understand. It could be expensive, but there are many ways to these things, and you can get that legal service that you can afford.
Okay. So you actually spoke about the Company and Allied Matters Act earlier. What does it state?
Okay, that's it. What does it state is that we're talking of a law of almost 2,000 pages. So it's not.
We're going to narrow it down now that to the ones that concern MSMEs.
Okay, there are a lot of them. But just to point out a few.
Yeah. The ones they are most likely to fall into.
Yeah. So first is the moment you register your company and you're operating a business in Nigeria, you have duties and responsibilities. One of them is what we call annual returns. So every year you're mandated to pay annual returns to the Corporate Affairs Commission.
Okay.
Now, the payment of your annual return is not a tax. That is not tax, because a lot of businesses kind of confuse it with tax payment. That's filing or payment is to notify the commission that I still exist. I'm still operating in business. The moment you default in that, it's penalty that accrues. And if you then have anything to do, maybe post incorporation, after you must have incorporated your company, maybe you want to change your business partner, you want to change the name, or you want to add someone else, or you change your business address, or you just might want to change something, and you have to go back to the Corporate Affairs Commission. You won't be able to do that if you have not paid your annual returns up to date. So up to date, annual returns is very crucial. And if you don't pay, recently the Corporate Affairs Commission put out notification that we are going to delist some names off their record, and this is because they've not complied over time. They've not been paying these annual returns over time. So it's very essential for business owners to pay attention. And these are not very expensive money, actually. It's very, very minimal. And
it depends on what you want.
Yeah, because if you pay it in due time, then you won't accrue any form of penalty.
Okay.
And that helps you to liquidate this money in time. And maybe another thing they would also want to pay attention to as business owners is when it comes to your post incorporation. I mean, post incorporation, just like I've said earlier, it is not enough to say I've registered my company, right? You might want to know what happens after I've registered. If someone wants to be a part of that company, maybe invest in your business, then you might be talking about, how do I put my documentations together? What kind of documents do I need to put together to protect myself and the interest of my business? Because people are coming, you don't really know what their intentions are.
True.
And we talk every day, we say partner. We want to scale partner and all of that. But people just go into partnership without really talking about what is your role, what are you bringing on board, what is my expectation of you, how do we share profit if it does happen and all of that. So there are a lot of things that we should concern ourselves as businesses, which we might not be able to cover up in this session actually.
But before we even get to that point of knowing our roles as partners, if I choose not to register my business.
Oh, wow, a lot of implication. If you choose not to register, they're doing yourself a lot of disservice.
Okay.
For instance, there are lots of benefits that comes to business owners from the government, from private organizations, even from non-profit organizations. People want to support business owners, especially in a time like this where issues of the economy is really dwindling. So supports are coming from somewhere. So for me to establish that you're really running a business, I need you to prove it to me. And the only way you can prove that you are a business and that you're running is to show me your certificate of incorporation. So that is one benefit that you might be leaving out, or you might just be deceiving yourself with if you're not registered. If you're not a registered business owner. Another thing is, if you don't register your company, because you need to open an account. So we talk to business owners and we say, separate yourself from the business. You are different from your business. So one way to do that is also in the area of finances. You want to open a separate account for the business, different from your own personal account. And for you to do that, most banks in Nigeria would ask you, especially commercial banks, would ask you for certificate of incorporation for you to be able to do that. Yeah. So I think there are a lot of advantages that really you would enjoy when you register your business, and it makes you to be intentional about running your business, really, because you now begin to see the business differently, and you are investing in the business, and you can be sure that someday, sometime, this will thrive, this will bring back some returns to me.
So a lot of people venture into business because at this time you need a plan B, plan C, D, up to Z. And then to a reasonable extent, maybe they've been able to accrue some sort of capital to start up a business, and then they venture into this business. Eventually, they begin to have issues here and there, how to manage, and that is where the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund comes in. In most cases, some people actually think they are just there for grants and loans. So we need to state it categorically that they do a lot more beyond grants and loans, which includes training, helping you to put you on track, in terms of your checks and balances, legal services, and all of these. Now let's come to the legal service, which is your own area. Why is it essential for entrepreneurs to have a sound understanding of legal landscape, particularly in today's business environment? Okay,
if you are not aware, then you just might be caught off guard. Now, I say that to say, if there are recently the National Assembly was pushing a policy where employers of labor might go to prison if they fail to pay salaries for a period of time. And people were shouting, and some say yes, because you have to pay salaries. Some say, what if the business is not thriving, and it shouldn't be made a criminal offense where people have to go to prisons for. Now, those are the kind of things or policies that business owners need to be paying attention to, because we have issues where people have, they say sales help or sales representatives or many people working with them, but the truth is that is employment. So the moment you choose as a business owner to say, I want to have one person in my shoe, okay, so there are pros and cons, right? But the truth is, if some of these employees have the capacity to take up a lot of cases, right, we would have a lot of business owners really facing the music. Sure. So I say that as a business owner, nobody forced you to go and start business, right? You decided, you chose to. So it comes with its own responsibilities and duties, and you have to really comply. So you need to know what employment law says in Nigeria. You need to be knowing what intellectual property law says in Nigeria, because you want to protect your interest. As business owners, you are inventing, you are designing something, you have copyright over some things, you're writing books, whatever it is you're doing, you need to know what copyright law says, you need to know what intellectual property is about, and then familiarize yourself with all of these things.
All right then, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. The program is Accelerate Lagos. Today we are talking your business and the law. My guest is Oluyemi Orija. She is a managing partner at Hertford Chambers. Come on board, and should you have any concern, you have any question you want to ask Oluyemi as regards your business, feel free to put a call through to 0809 9120 777. Join the conversation this morning for clarity on your business and the law. All right, let's quickly tell you what the roads are looking like. The earlier reported impediment at Igbo has been fixed and taken off the road. So if you're going towards that direction, you really have nothing to worry about. A broken down compactor truck at Anthony by Corona Loop, Green Spring Schools in Wadi Kurudu Road having propeller issue. It's affecting the flow of traffic backward Anthony Oke, but traffic managers are also there doing what is expected of them. All right, Oluyemi, let's come to the next question now. For entrepreneurs just starting, what are the foundational legal steps they should take to they should put into consideration, in starting their business, just to ensure that they minimize risk?
Yeah. So if you're starting up, I think the first thing you want to do is, like we said earlier, register. How to register is not that difficult. You don't necessarily have to do that yourself. And I also say seek advice, because there are a lot different types of legal structure you can establish for your business. And a business lawyer is best to give you the best advice on which of them to adopt. There are different types of them. We have you might want to run a partnership, you might want to run a limited liability company, you might want to run a business, what we call enterprise, business name, So depending on the industry you operate, the size of your business and the goal of your business. A business lawyer might be able to put you in the right direction. So that's the very fundamental thing you want to do. Another thing, after registering, you then want to look at what kind of services are you rendering. Some might require licenses. I mean, for a business like ours, legal law, anybody cannot just set up a law firm. You must have been a lawyer, have the license to practice law in Nigeria. And if you're into manufacturing, you want to look at maybe NAFDAC and get your required licenses. You want to go into training, you want to look at NITDA, different sector with that require. Not all sector requires a license, but I mean, it all depends on where you're operating. So if you operate where you need to get a license, then please do that, because if you don't, whatever it is that you're branding or building might just come down in one day. I mean, a lot of people say law don't work in Nigeria. It is until it gets to you. That's when you know that law really works in Nigeria. Because we've had people who started up their business without doing the right things, and one day law enforcement agents, shows up and they are doing the needful, and you're wondering, where were you when I started this thing? It's because you didn't pay attention, you didn't do the needful, you didn't get the right advice that you ought to get. So I say, really, it's not enough to do business. Research your industry, know what is required of you, and then just put action.
So basically, one of the reasons why I think that entrepreneurs might not necessarily want to find out about legal services or find out one or two things is just because, there is a lot involved already in setting up a business.
Absolutely.
Talking about financial status.
Yeah.
And now, if I have to see a legal service, or I need to find out about anything legal, I'm going to have to pay. If I have to do anything, Company and Allied Act, I have to pay. I have to pay taxes, I have to pay this, I have to pay that. How much are we talking about when we talk about annual returns?
Okay, so annual returns, if we are limiting it, I mean, there are a lot of things to pay for. And not every business owner can know their ways around the computer and to say, or have the time to even say, I want to sit down and file annual returns all by myself, right? So it might not just be limited to the amount you pay to the Corporate Affairs Commission. Now, if you have to engage a lawyer, you also have to pay legal fees. But I think for a limited liability company, because it all depends on the structure you have, it's about 5,000 to 10,000 naira, less than 10,000 naira per annum that you have to pay. So it's not something, it's not something that huge. And that's why I say, if you're putting your mind to it, I mean, if you have a law firm that you work with or a lawyer that you work with, they can update you at every time that this thing is due, because there's dates, there's deadline to these things. I think for annual returns, it's 30th of every June. That's the deadline for you